All right. Welcome to the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Gio Garcia. Today is Thursday, October 29th. Joining us once again, we got Delmy Barillas. Delmy, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Obviously, a lot to get into. We didn't know what was going to happen today. News broke earlier today. But before we get into that, how you been? I know I just saw you yesterday at the LAFC game.
I know I was going to be sarcastic and say, "Hey, Gia, long time no see."
Yeah, right.
No, but I've been good. Obviously, today is crazy for all of us. It's kind of
Mhm.
shocking a little bit what happened, but I know we're going to dive in. So I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Well, since the last time we spoke, the Lakers won the championship. The
Mhm.
Dodgers this past week won, or Tuesday, they won the World Series. So in this 2020, this crazy 2020 year, there's a lot of things been going on. But in sports in LA, I mean, that's probably the most positive thing. But unfortunately, us as fans, us as media, we're not able to be there. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait
Correct.
till I can't wait till they have the parades here in LA because I know it's going to be crazy, just bananas, just people. I already saw like what we saw in the streets already after the Lakers and Dodgers won. With
I
this whole COVID
know.
thing. Just imagine
I
with the parade.
know. I know it's pretty exciting times, definitely for the sports culture here in LA. And obviously, like you were talking about the parades, I think they've already confirmed, right? Parades are going to happen. They're just waiting as far as when the right and appropriate time it is to do them. So fans have something to look forward to there, of course, making a Lakers Dodgers combined parade, which I'm sure the entire city is going to show out for that. Everyone's super exciting. Congrats to the Lakers and the Dodgers.
Yeah. So, but now we got to talk about some not so exciting news, right? So obviously earlier
Right.
today, I think about like around 2:30, news broke that Guillermo Barros was fired by the LA Galaxy. No surprise by the firing, but I think you and I are talking pre-chat. We are surprised that it happened today. We with 3 games
Yeah.
left, right? I
Hmm.
think I thought we assumed that they were gonna let him finish out the season because not only it's just him, it's his twin brother, it's the goalkeeping coach, it's assistant coaches. So
Everybody.
it's just pretty much the whole coaching staff, and you kind of assume. But I think after that 5-2 loss, and I know Dennis the Close was in the game yesterday at the game. I think he probably had enough, and on the conference he said it's not at the right time. But I think a 5-2 loss. I think if I might have been a 3-2 or something where it looked very more competitive, where the scoreline wasn't as big. I
Yeah.
think he might have finished the season, but by these 5-2 loss, I don't think Dennis was able to overlook that, and I think that's why the decision came down today.
Yeah, it was definitely shocking considering the timing of it all. Again, like you just said, I think we all thought for sure his job is on the line, but they're going to wait until the very end of the season to fire him. Um, yeah, the loss last night was not pretty. It was not a good game. Obviously, the team, you don't see any heart, you don't see any hard work. It almost feels like they gave up on GBS a long time ago. It doesn't feel like there's been any kind of good relationship between players and the coach. The timing was definitely surprising. I was for sure they're going to wait until the next 3 games because if we're going to be honest, it's very unlikely that they make playoffs. So at this point, what does it really matter? You just wait it out, get rid of him at the end of the season. But that obviously did not happen, and it was very shocking. And like Dennis said today, things like this, it's kind of hard to find the right timing. It's never good timing. So you can understand kind of everything that he talked about in that presser today. But I think everyone's pretty shocked that it happened today of all days. But in hindsight, when you look at last night's presser after the game, he answered one
Hmm.
question in English, repeated the same thing in Spanish, apologized to all the press, and told us, basically said to us, I hope that you understand and good night. And I feel like that was a clear indication of, okay, things are not okay. You
Yeah.
obviously know something that we don't. And obviously, he knew he was going to get fired. And now it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. That was my next point because I think that's the first time I've ever heard him just say, "Speak, answer one question," and that was it. And he was gone, and that I think that
Yeah.
probably just led to the domino effect that he probably knew that was it. Especially I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what conversations they had, but also like Dennis the Close spoke at halftime with the Taylor Twellman and
Yeah.
ESPN, and he said that it was not the right time to speak, on live TV, which totally makes sense. But I think yeah, the loss and him, only speaking, having one I'm only answering one question. And I think to me, it's a sad because of this has been going on for so long. It's not just Guillermo, but I also agree with you. The one thing that Dennis said in the press call today is that the players, I'm just going to paraphrase what he said, how the
Yeah,
players played, their ability, just the body language. What I understood from him was that the body language of the players. That's one thing that rubbed Dennis the wrong way. And I think seeing that again one time, because it's happened throughout the season, I think seeing that last
right.
night one more time, and on the score line, I think it kind of just did it for him. And and we're here today just talking about it. But another thing that I also want to get into is Chicharito. So before yesterday's game, it was weird because me, you, and I typically when a player ever posts about, well,
Uh-huh.
let's say first, Chicharito has not posted about the LA Galaxy on his social media for
Nope.
months. It's I think since the start of the season was the last time he has posted anything, and it was like the first thing he posts is he's gonna stay. He's gonna stay. This was after the LA Galaxy took off playing to Portland. That he said he was gonna stay because he was injured. He wishes the Galaxy, the best of luck to get these 3 points. And essentially, he broke his own news, and that doesn't
Yeah,
happen with any of these LA teams.
never.
Typically, the team likes to address that in the injury report and stuff like that. But the team on top of that, the team never addressed that. So I thought that was kind of weird, and it also kind of told me that, it kind of made me realize that, okay, maybe him and the team aren't really seeing the side to side, and it just added to more of the speculation. And now we're here today. How did you see that?
I mean, tons of speculation and things to say about that. You and I spoke about this before. The LA Galaxy are a team that like to control the narrative, and that's across the board. With injury reports, with any news that breaks, they like to control that. So seeing a player go out and post his own status before the team even says anything, before we get a chance to find out as press, I think everyone knew, okay, something's wrong here. I think we also spoke about LA Galaxy posted the injury reports, which, given you can't even take those reports seriously because I don't think the league even takes them seriously.
Hmm.
But he was listed as questionable on there. All of us thought, okay, he's questionable. He might play. He's definitely going to travel with the team. Once he leaked that and said, hey, yeah, I'm not playing, it just added fuel to the fire. And I think everyone did think, okay, what's really going on here? Is there some trouble in paradise? We know that he was benched before that. Is this a sign that maybe he's not getting along with Guillermo, and this is his way of lashing out and saying, well, listen, if you're going to bench me, that means I'm not playing? I think all of us saw beyond that. Sure, is there a possibility that he's hurt? Likely he might have tweaked something where he doesn't feel great, but obviously there was a lot more going on that we were led on to believe, especially given that he was the one that announced it. um and I mean, now with GBS gone, it kind of leaves us to speculate a little bit more, and things kind of start getting into place a little bit, and they kind of make a little more sense. But it's not a good look. It's not a good look on Galaxy. It's not a good look on Chicharito too. Show, I mean, there's rumors out there of his diva behavior. There's rumors out there that he doesn't get along with his teammates. And of course, this is all speculation, but it just continues to add fuel to that fire, and it doesn't help his case.
Not at all. And to go back, on LAFC, El Trafico, he was even listed in the starting 18. Even in the starting 18, and that's when we learned about the injury. After the game,
Yeah,
that's when it all started. I forgot to mention that prior to this. That's when it all started because whether, like, Guillermo and him, they never told us. Guillermo had a chance to tell us that, like, hey, he's injured, he's probably not playing. But now that he got fired and everything has happened, I realized that, okay, maybe this is speculation. Maybe
yeah.
Chicharito saw that he wasn't going to be starting, and
Hmm.
these are the theories that are out there, that he just
Which is
decided
very
not.
possible.
Yeah, that he decided. The crazy thing to me, he decided he was not even on the bench. What I'm saying? It's a game in LA. You live here. You weren't even on the bench. You know what I'm saying? So that tells me, okay, that is weird. Like, if you're really about your team and all that, you would have been there. And then him having this post, it just added to more. So I know there had to been something there between him and Guillermo. Getting benched, and I think that really did bother him. But to today's post, his today's Instagram story post, it just doesn't make sense. This is a post that he said. the dark quote, and put this in quotations mouth with the LA Galaxy logo on there. He said the darkest hours is just before the dawn, and on the bottom he wrote this club and these fans deserve much better than what we're than what we're given. Nothing more, hard work and growth. So it's, to me, that tells me, I'm like, why would you post that? And I felt like
Yeah.
that was potentially a jab at Guillermo. And this happened 2 hours before Guillermo got fired.
Yeah. See, and I have a big issue with this because I mean, I've defended Chicharito a lot since he came to LA, and it's become a little bit harder and harder. I think I told you this yesterday at the other game. It's
Mhm.
becoming harder for me to defend him. And I see a post like that, and I think the same thing again, speculation. But I do think, okay, is this low key a jab to him? One, but two, you can't also post things and say the fans deserve better, the club deserves better when you are choosing to opt out of a game. When you're going about things that way and you're announcing your own, I'm not going to be available for this game without the team, having any say or anything, that to me doesn't exactly show that you are there for your team. And even in Perry's kitchen, I think you were the one that asked him what his relationship with Chicharito was, and even in his response to me, it sounds very much like they're just trying to be very political about it.
Yeah.
But if you really read between the lines, it kind of eh, he's another teammate. He's part of the group. He's no different. To
Yeah.
me, that shows I don't believe that the team feels that he has their back. And why
Mhm.
should they feel that way? In my opinion,
Yeah.
why should they feel like he's there? Because he hasn't demonstrated any of those qualities of being a captain, no less. You can't possibly wear the captain's armband but then choose to act the way that you're acting. So to me, like you say, it's speculation, but it wouldn't surprise me that it is a little bit of a jab, not just towards Guillermo necessarily, but even to the entire front office.
Mhm.
I don't think he's happy. I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we even know. And I think that's, a clear message to, like I said, more than just Guillermo.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I think for him to say that, like, just out to your point, this club and these fans deserve much better. How are you gonna say that when you haven't even showed up?
Exactly.
You've only scored one goal. You haven't. I don't think you've made an MLS Team of the Week. You haven't, been Player of the Week, anything like that. So for you to say that out publicly and through social media, it just tells me like these aren't qualities of a leader. Instead of being like, hey guys, this is what a leader in my eyes does. Guys, hey, we've been doing a terrible job. I'll take full responsibility. I know that this is, we're gonna do better as a team. Like the words
Right.
we. I don't see. This says essentially what I'm understanding. It was like, what I'm understanding is like, oh, that's not my fault. It's his fault. It's because of him. It's because of
Yeah.
him. That for speculation, right? It's because of Guillermo. That's why we're losing. It's not because of me. And that's what I'm understanding from it. He's kind of and he's trying to make it, now make posts about the team and stuff. Maybe he's being advised to do that. We
Yeah.
don't know. And it's just not a good look. And fans in the media, they can read through it. And I just don't know
Absolutely.
how moving forward, when you're doing things like this and you want to control the narrative, right? You want to control this. And if this was your way to potentially get Guillermo fired, whatever, and if this is because he's not happy, he got benched and stuff like that. But at the same time, he hasn't done his part. He hasn't
No,
stepped
he
up. He
hasn't.
hasn't affected the game. And I don't think if Galaxy, I know Dennis the close is paying attention to this. And are you gonna let Chicharito control what happens here? No, what his next thing is gonna post? Is he gonna post next moving forward on who he wants as a head coach, who he wants as players coming in? You know what I'm saying? Like at a certain point, I think there's only so much things that can happen, and I just kind of want to get in. I'll let you get your thoughts on here, but I just don't think that's the right way to go about it if you want to be the leader of this team and all of a sudden show that you care about this club.
No, I completely agree with you. I think it's one thing to say something, right? And he can post all he wants on social media, like his post today, but his actions have really indicated the complete opposite.
Hmm.
We talk about just performance. If you want to keep it strictly on performance, he does not look like he's kept in shape, and take that aside. Have we seen him at the gym? Have we seen him putting in the work? Have we seen that commitment and motivation? We haven't seen any of these things. I think one of the biggest things fans complain about is, all he will post about on social media is Twitch,
Hmm.
video games, right? How is that helping your case as a player where people are already bashing your name and questioning whether or not you're actually committed to the crest, whether you're committed to this team? So it starts there, and then pulling, things like I'm injured, I can't play, announcing that on social media. These are all things that are just accumulating and are not helping his case by any means. I think honestly, the biggest advantage is that worst comes to worst, do the Galaxy really want to lose another few $1 million on buying out a contract? So I
Mm.
feel like the conversation goes deeper, where it's like, okay, is he going to return? Pros, cons. Why would you want him here? Why would you not want him here? None of the things that we're seeing happen now, especially with social media and the announcements and all these things that he's kind of pulling as of late, are going to help his case. And like you say, all of these qualities are not qualities that you want in a leader, especially not a designated player who's getting paid a lot of money to be here. These are not things that you want in a captain. These are not having that locker room be cohesive and everyone getting along, especially after a couple of seasons with Slatan, where that was also a problem. Those aren't things that you want to deal with. You want that commodity. You want
Well,
to feel like
Zlatan actually
everyone.
scored goals and he actually played. He actually impacted the game. You know what I'm
Exactly. So
saying?
at least he produced, he gave
Yeah.
something, right? But it's not like with Chicharito's case. I don't know if there's any positive that you can say that he's been able to bring this to the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there isn't anything that you can really pinpoint where it's been like, okay, he's been able to contribute in this sense or in this sense. There's nothing across the board. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of one thing where I could say, you know what, this is how he has helped. He's making a major contribution on this team, not scoring goals, but he's doing this. I think everything that he has shown so far has been quite the opposite. And it's very unfortunate, especially right now when the team, I mean, we saw it in yesterday's pressers. They've hit, just when you think things can't get worse, they do. They've hit
Mm.
rock bottom. And it's really sad to see how low this team has gotten and where they are right now. They need every positive reinforcement that they can get, even if that means from someone like Chicharito. And I just don't believe he's doing that for the team.
No, and it doesn't help when this is obviously, you have the star players, essentially one of the star players, right, doing this, and on top of that, they're tied for him for essentially $10 more million, right, these next 2 years, right, plus bonuses, which we don't know if he's gonna be able to achieve those the way things are going, right. And I don't know. I think it right. I think it was right now between Guillermo and Chicharito, and now you have to see how you make Chicharito work. You're just gonna have
Yeah.
to see how it's gonna work, right? And
Yeah.
well, I just want to touch up because Dennis was asked this on the press call today. He was asked about Javier's future with the club. He said with all the excitement that came. I'm just going to paraphrase, but I wrote a few
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
With all the excitement that came from our side and from his side, we haven't been able to connect to his full potential. His personal challenges didn't help as well. We ended up in a situation where we had to look where we ended up in a situation where we have to look forward. Any decisions that go forward will be in due time. Well, says it in the right way. So that tells me it's not like,
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna make this work. That also tells me that Dennis knows what's going on, obviously, but he also knows that it's not a easy thing to do with Chicharito because they're tied. Guillermo, I think he only had 1 more year and $1 million. I,
Yeah,
I
when we're
get it.
there.
But
Hmm.
over here, you have ten more $1 million in 2 more years, and
Yeah.
a player that nobody right now. Shouldn't say that, but a player that it's not marketable to even Chivas, and he not he
No one
yesterday on
wants him.
ESPN. Yeah, no one, essentially no one wants him
Yeah.
right now. So it's hard to market to a player. On top of that, he hasn't been playing, and this is what he's acting. And on top of that, the Mexican press, the media, Jared Borghetti, former Mexican soccer star, he mentioned that he's getting badly advice as well. So everybody's taking notice about what's going on, and him not being on the field, him not producing all these different things. That to me is okay. Whoever they bring in, whatever coach and stuff, you gotta see how this is gonna work, because I think he is acting out, but it's also like it's weird that he's acting out because he hasn't produced or done anything, you know. And if
Right.
he feels, and if you know, there've been reports that he does feel like he's above his teammates and stuff like that. I kind of wonder if those came from Guillermo. You know, I kind of wonder if those came from Guillermo, or you know, because of how him and Chicharito did not have a good relationship. Obviously, you didn't see anybody post today. You know, I haven't seen any Galaxy players post like, hey, you know, thank you, this and that. A lot of players I can tell were not
Yeah.
satisfied with him, you know, and his coaching tactics and stuff like that. You know, ultimately it cost him his job today. But Chicharito, he doesn't have the fans in the side. I don't, you know, he doesn't. Him posting, trying to post about the team now after this, people can
Mm-hmm.
read between the lines. You know, fans aren't dumb, media isn't dumb. We understand what's going on, and if he's, you know, if he's being advised to do this or stuff, but it just doesn't really help his case moving forward. And whoever, you know, whoever comes in, they really got to understand what they're dealing with Chicharito.
No, I completely agree. And take Chicharito aside for a second. I think GBS's system and the way he wanted to play, his style, was just not compatible for this team. It just
Hmm.
wasn't working.
Agree.
I do believe that there's players, let's talk, for example, Christian Babon. There are players where he did have a good relationship with. I agree with you, where I feel like his relationship with Chicharito was just not a good one. And I do believe, again, it's just speculation. I do believe having him bench had a lot to do with it. I think there was major friction going on there, and that did have a lot to do with it. But also, going back to what you're saying, money talks. They still owe him a lot of money. If you go back with recent DPs, take Alessandrini, we all know what happened there, the injuries, you know, they had to let him go. Take a Gio, Giovanni Dos Santos, they had to buy his contract out. The Galaxy and AEG do not want another example or another situation where they have to spend millions of dollars and get rid of a player. I truly believe that they're going to at least give him one more shot, have a new coach in mind, have a new coach in place, a new system in place, and see if this can happen and this can work with him. Because on top of that, you also have, I don't want to call them excuses. To some degree, I feel like they are. To others, no. But you know, you have things like a pandemic that did happen. A lot of stuff happening there. The bubble with the tournament. You have a lot of diversity that not just the Galaxy, but the entire league has faced. But I almost feel like they're gonna have to give him another shot, especially if they don't want to lose that money. So I feel like that could potentially be a reason why he could stay at least for another year. But I also do wonder, Dennis going on the record today and saying, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stay here, but so and so. It makes me wonder how much of that is a mind game in the sense of, I'm sure you've had these conversations with Chicharito or with, you know, front office and that kind of thing. But how much of this is almost like um, a warning sign kind of a thing, you know, where it's like, okay, we're not going to cave into every request he has or everything
Hmm.
he wants or every, for lack of better words, tantrums that he makes. So I'm publicly letting people know, no, this does not mean Chicharito's going to stay. His position is not safe. We could let him go if we decide to do that. I almost wonder how much of that is actual truth, you know, where it's like, no, his position is not safe versus trying to send a message to him through the media. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, no, 100%. And I think that's what he was doing because he didn't, like I said, he wasn't like, yeah, you know, we're gonna make this thing work. You know, but I think, like you said, also the money issue. It's like, you know, he didn't show his cards essentially. You know, Dennis the Close, he didn't show his cards. He was putting like, you know, he addressed it that he knew that was something that they would have to essentially figure out right in the right way
Yeah.
and what's best for the club. You know, obviously Dennis works for the club. Dennis, I'm assuming, was the one of the people that want to bring in him because Dennis used to be with the Mexican national team. He knows his capability. He knows what Chicharito has been able to produce, but this is not the same Chicharito. I don't think him mentally, he's not really the type of player, you know. And I've seen athletes like this in other sports that, like, you know, they're more focused on other things
Right.
than the actual
Mm-hmm.
thing on the sport. And I think Dennis the Closer knows that, you know what I'm saying? So he knows that, but he also knows that they
Yeah,
own all this money and all these
exactly.
different things going on. So I think the next thing, you know, coming right, it's a coach because what he said on the coach the on the hiring process of a new coach. This is what he said. the process of getting a new head coach is defining what is identity, what style we want to play, and find a coach who has the same characteristics. That's what he said. So what I understood from that is, that style is also, if you have Chicharito in mind, is going to have to complement Chicharito in mind, at least for this next year, if you're going to give him one more shot, because you're not going to play him as a lone striker because he can't play as a lone striker, whether he
Nope.
was in shape. You need either like a 4-4-2. He needs someone there to help him out and tactically find ways how to find him, and do all these crosses inside the box and everything, where he can maximize his potential. But at the same time, Chicharito was not physically fit. He wasn't playing at his best. Maybe because maybe he fell out of rhythm, or out of love, because of the style they're trying to play. And Chicharito maybe realized, like, hey, I'm not going to benefit in this type of style. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was asking. We don't know what was going on in the training ground, but maybe Guillermo's like, no, hey, this is the way we've been playing. This is how we're going to play. You have to adjust to us. And I do think that Guillermo didn't really try to adjust to Chicharito. Only one game. Um, oh, hold on, what is going on there? You still there? Sorry, it kind of just
Yeah.
cut out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But only one game they tried, like it was like a 4-4-2, and then they scrapped that plan. So I think what happens moving forward is gonna have to be, with Chicharito tactically, and how you're gonna get the best of him with the new coach coming in.
See, I kind of almost disagree with that. And let me
If
tell you
if you're
why.
if you're gonna keep Chicharito, you know what I'm saying? That's if.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
if.
but even so, let's play devil's advocate here and say he will come back for at least another year. Um, do I think he's gonna have a breakout year? I mean, is it possible? Sure. Is it
Yeah,
gonna
no, no.
happen?
I
I
trust me. I'm not.
highly
I don't. I'm
doubt.
not thinking he's
Yeah,
gonna have a breakout
yeah,
year.
but
That's not what I'm
it's
saying.
almost kind of like how much are you willing to sacrifice, and for the sake of just one player. This
Yeah.
is one DP signing that we're talking about, one player. How much are you willing to sacrifice to cave to his style of play and his demands versus you're trying to build this team? Especially now, we're seeing a lot of the younger players come up performing. They're good players. They just need time to develop some more.
Hmm.
How much are you willing to sacrifice for 1 year of one more play of a player like Chicharito versus trying to develop long-term goals? Do you know what I mean? And
I
that's
agree
that's
with you on that.
where my mind goes in, where it's like you cannot. Galaxy has made this mistake a lot, where it's like I almost feel like they think short term. What's going to be the best marketing? What's the big name that we're
Yeah.
going to bring out here? A big star player. You can't think that way. They've done that numerous seasons now, and look where we are. You can't do that. So I almost feel like no. I like to think that somewhere along that line, a very honest conversation with Javier is going to have to take place and say, listen, we value you as a designated player. We want you here, but there's gotta have to be a little give and take, a little bit of give and take. Obviously, we don't know to what capacity the problems go with him at GBS, and that obviously could play a major part. Even take with just Dom Kinnear right now, who's going to take over for a second time. You can tell that the players respect him a lot. The players have high, it just, they speak very highly of Dom, and they all love Dom, and obviously they produce results for Dom. So who's to say that Chicharito won't have that same response towards a coach like Dom? For all we know, we could
100%.
see a completely different side of him, and then that could work out in their favor. So I don't think I would necessarily say that they have to go out and get a coach that's going to cater to Chicharito's style of play. I think Chicharito needs to realize that he's in a position right now in his career where he's going to have to adapt and accept that his role might not be as big with a new coach in hand. And that's just the way it's going to be if he wants to stay here in LA.
Yeah, I just don't think playing him as a lone striker, whoever comes in, I don't think he's going to
No.
succeed, because that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't come in tactically thinking that Chicharito's a lone striker, because he's not. You need to help him up top more, and have those runs, because he's a poacher, and that's what he does. But you have to have more offensive tackling minds and plays and different things going on. I think with Guillermo, he was too stagnant, and they had the same things going on, and there was no creativity. They had great creativity in their set pieces, but once the ball was there, like rolling live, it was kind of tough to see that. You did have players like that exceeded, like Christian Pavone, and obviously he is gifted talent, but I think if you're going with Chicharito moving forward and he's going to be part of those pieces, right? If you're playing him this much money, I agree with you. It has to Chicharito does have to, come in and adjust to this type of playing or whatever. But I think if he's going to be your lead striker, one of the lead strikers, you're going to have to put him in spots where he can be successful. But he has to be physically in shape, and all these things have to happen, right? It all comes
Yeah.
together. Another thing I want to talk about, I think and also the big thing on this is the three DPs, right? Christian
Hmm.
Pavone and Jonathan Dos Santos. I haven't been. I would just want to
Yes.
say this. I haven't been surprised. I'm impressed with Jonathan Dos Santos these last few
No.
games. I think. I don't know. I don't think he deserves a DP spot. He should be the leader of this team, but he's not. I asked Josh this question:
Yeah.
who's his leader on the team? I don't know who's the leader on the team. It should be Jonathan Dos Santos, but it's not.
Yeah.
So I think if you can bring him down to Tam from a DP spot, because I don't think he really deserves a DP spot. I just don't. And I think Christian Pavone's case, he is well worth um, every penny Galaxy could potentially afford. I don't think they can afford $20 million. I think that's
No.
already been known. But I think if you can afford them for $10 million or whatever the negotiations happen. I just want to quote what Dennis Kloese said on the Christian Pavone future after GBS, because we know how close he was with GBS, who brought him here.
Right.
Christian Pavone is a very talented player. We have a very great relationship with this previous club, Boca Juniors. GBS leaving has no effect if Pavone will stay or not.
Yeah.
I
It
think
was
also
very
think
telling.
yeah. I know. I also do think if it's $20 million, he's not going to come back, right? And
No.
and
No
if you
way.
just and you just fire his coach that brought him over here, and Chicharito's acting this way and all this stuff. How much do you, if you're Christian Pavone, do you really want to stay here? You know?
I think Pavon likes LA. I
Yeah,
think
I
he's
agree.
really
I
he
agree.
yeah, he loves the city. I think he's really enjoyed playing for this club. I think he gets along great with his teammates. Obviously, he had an amazing relationship with GBS. Now that he's gone, I honestly don't think that necessarily changes. I do think that he still wants to be on this team. I think he likes to be a leader. He likes to be that person that can finish, that can score goals, that can produce for the team, and he's really enjoying just the lifestyle overall that the Galaxy has been able to give him. I think if you left it up to Pavon, he would stay in LA. I think the question more becomes of what you're saying. Can the Galaxy realistically afford him? No, they can't. There's no way they're going to go out on a limb and pay $20 million for him. That's just
Mhm.
not going to happen. It's not realistic. Honestly, prior to today's presser with DTK, I was almost for sure there's no way that they're even going to contemplate the idea of paying him. They're just going to send him back. But I felt, along with the quote that you just read, I feel like there were even other quotes that he said where he kind of sounded like he was almost planning a future with Pavone in it. Like
Mhm.
he kind of made it sound like, he's keeping his style of play and keeping the position that he plays and what he can bring to the team to the near future. Um, would it surprise me that they end up making some kind of offer for him? Of course not. Christian Pavon, I think that they would want him on the team. However, it's not going to be anywhere near the $20 million tag. It's not going
Mhm.
to happen. And as far as Jonathan Dos Santos, I think he also has 1 year left in his contract, if I'm not mistaken. And I agree with you. I mean, I think he's a player that we saw do great things at the beginning, and his productivity has slowly declined, along with injuries and that kind of thing. Could that, I agree with you as far as bringing his contract down to like a TAM possibility or something like that. I think he's another player who really enjoys the LA lifestyle. I feel like
You don't think he posts like he's a model?
exactly.
I'm not trying to hit on him, but like
No, me
he
neither.
posts all about that. But I'm like, bro, like just win, like help this team
I
win. You
almost
know what I'm
feel like
saying?
he's more into being this kind of quote unquote influencer in LA than
Yeah.
anything else. Like he's constantly, posting his shirtless pictures and like all
Yeah.
around
Unlike
town.
Chicharito, he actually shows up to the games though.
Yes,
So that to me
exactly.
it
So there's
doesn't
a
it doesn't
difference.
there's a
Mhm.
difference. There's a big difference. He
Absolutely
actually
a
knows what to
difference.
do.
Yes, and I do believe that Jonah wants to. I mean, he said this before. He's been super vocal about it. He wants to retire. If he had a choice, he would stay here for the rest of his career. He loves the LA lifestyle. He loves the LA scene. He loves the team. He really does play, and for lack of better words, gives it his all. Even though his performance hasn't been top notch lately, do I see him maybe taking a pay cut or dropping down from that DP level? I don't know. I don't know if he'd be willing to take that pay cut, to be honest. And who knows if that would even have a lot to do with keeping Pavon or not. I mean, if I was betting on either or, I don't think the Galaxy would pay Pavon. I don't think he's going to last beyond this year. As far as Jonah, I think that they will try and find a way to pay him less and still keep him here.
Mm.
And but that also has a lot to do with his performance, right? Like if he keeps
Yeah, I
playing the
just
way
think
that
his
he does.
performance has not been
Yeah.
good. It just
No, not
hasn't
right now. He's not
has.
in a position where he can demand more or want more because his performance does not back that up.
Yeah, no, I think for me it's like right, you're looking at the future. Pavone makes sense, but I think if you can get him anywhere from 10 to 11, maybe $12 million max, if Boco's down to do that, maybe that makes sense for the LA Galaxy. But right now, like anything higher than that, it just doesn't make sense for the LA Galaxy.
I
And I
agree.
think I think moving forward, also like the defense, I think everybody in
Hmm.
the defense pretty much is gone. Ralph, um, you
Oh,
know,
Ralph for sure. Ralph won't see another season. I know there's some people that really love him. I mean, I'm surprised he's lasted this long. He won't see another season
yeah,
with this team.
people
That's for
obviously
sure.
people Gonzalez, he's been
Gone.
terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe Daniel Stairs. We don't know. He has not looked good these last recent games. I think the only player that you're sure of is Julian Araujo, right at the right back.
Yeah.
And Sua has been solid. And Sua's been solid, but you want a little bit better. You know what what you expect from him. I think there's just he puts effort and he does care about being on this team and being on this club. But I just think right now the only safe player for me on the defensive end is Julian Araujo, and then I'm assuming you have Jonathan Klinsman as your starting goalkeeper. He's going to be the future. He looks like he's going to be the future for the LA Galaxy. So you essentially not just
Isn't
got the
that
word,
something?
yeah, not yeah, it's crazy, right? So not only do you have to figure out the back line, we can only people are speculating that Jurgen Klinsmann could come coach the LA Galaxy. That would be interesting, and that would be a very interesting hire. And I think that's a very respectable candidate, because I don't think he's coaching right now. I don't think he lives in Newport Beach from last time I heard, so, but there's a lot that comes with that because of the whole Landon Donovan thing, the whole, the how that went about. So I don't know if you know the history. I don't know if that's, there's just little things
Yeah.
intertwined, right? So
So
that
Galaxy fans are still holding on to that, by the way. They don't
Oh,
forget.
they don't forget.
Oh,
No,
totally holding
they
on. Yeah.
they they, they do not forget. But I think that's a name that's going to be brought. I'm just going to speculate that's a name that's definitely going to be brought up because of his son, right? I don't know how interested he
Yeah.
is to want to coach. I don't know how motivated he
I
is.
mean, that was a speculation when they hired his son. When Galaxy first signed him, of course, everyone went to, is this possibly opening the door for his father to come to the Galaxy and coach the team? So, in this hypothetical world where if that does happen, I don't know that anyone would necessarily be surprised per se, simply because when they hired his son, it opened up that topic of conversation. For me personally, I would love to see Dom as head coach. I wanted
Mhm.
to see him last time as head coach, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even know if he got an interview or he did get an interview, but he was not seriously considered for the position.
Yeah,
That entire situation
I
was a
don't think.
mess.
Yeah, I don't think he was seriously considered. I think they were always gonna go with somebody else. I think
Which is a
Dennis coming.
disappointment.
Yeah, Dennis. I think well, Dennis came in. Obviously, I don't know what type of he obviously didn't have no relationship with Dominic, or we don't know that, right? But then like Dennis comes in a couple months. I think Dennis already had his guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
But now that Dennis has been there, he understands who Dominic is. He knows more about Dennis. I
Yeah.
think
And
Kevin asked that question today if he's gonna get. I think he should. He should seriously get a look.
absolutely.
Seriously,
Absolutely.
seriously.
I think he did such a good job with the team towards that final stretch of the season. He did a phenomenal job. But beyond that, the way that the players, every single player in that locker room, the way they were able to speak of Dom, you can tell that it was a unity. You can tell that they respected him as a coach. You can tell that everyone was united in that sense. And I feel like that's something they did not have with Guillermo. And that takes you far. That takes you far. He knows the club. Who better than having Dom permanently take over? My pick, I'd go with Dom all the way. I want to see him as head coach, and I would be super curious and interested to see if he did get it, who would be his support staff.
Yeah, and well, I think that's what they're figuring out today too. They're figuring out all that today, right? Because they have a game this Sunday, so they're gonna figure out that today. I think you do consider Dom. I don't know what Dennis is thinking, but I think you also have to have
Yeah.
other candidates in mind. I think that's what you just do, because this is going to be a long process that is starting obviously today, because you don't want another rebuilding. It seems like a Galaxy the last couple of years
In
have
like
always
four
been,
years.
yeah, always been in a rebuilding
Yeah.
mode, and I think you have to get this right, because if you don't get this right and this happens again, then it goes, and then you start to look, which people already want, they're already saying Klein out and everything like that. It's going to get to that point that, when you need new fresh blood, new ownership and stuff. But I think they're going to take their time with this new hiring, because they have to get it right. I think this is the last time. If not, Klein, I think he still has a couple years with this contract, but I mean, the fans are not happy with,
Do
with,
you
with Klein.
really? You think he still has a couple of years
With this
with the
contract,
club?
I think his
Oh,
current,
left.
yeah, I
Okay.
think his current contract, Josh was telling me, ends in 2022, I believe. Um, so I think his contract ends 2022, 2021. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, people out there, but like he still has a couple. I think that's why I say a couple of years left in that contract. But if they don't get this right, then there's no way that I don't see another way to,
No.
you know. But let me add this on top of that, like with all the Galaxy struggles, this is just like, okay, like this just gives Galaxy fans hope. That is all. Like, and it's not exciting hope, because they've been here before, right? It's not
Yeah,
like, oh,
absolutely.
it's just like, okay, we have hope, but
Something's
okay,
getting done.
something's getting done,
Yeah.
but like we've been here before, and last time it didn't work, and now we're here again. You know what I'm saying? Let me add a little bit more to that. Then on
Mm.
top of the side, across the street down there, you got the nosy neighbors of LAFC in the black and gold. They're currently what,
Gotta bring up
fourth, fifth?
LAFC.
I have
Fifth.
to,
Fifth
because
after the new
fifth,
rule.
fifth after. Okay, I have
Yeah.
to, because let me just throw a theory or whatever. Just let's play, when we're in this little
All
perfect
right.
little world,
All
right?
right, I'm listening.
Galaxy or LAFC go down and somehow end up winning. Not somehow, they have talent. They
Yeah.
This year they win the MLS Cup, and with all of Galaxy's issues, you're gonna start to see
More
more and
pressure.
more. Yeah, you're gonna start to see the pressure, but you're also gonna start to
Hmm.
people move to LAFC. You already had LA Galaxy fans that moved to LAFC. Now you're gonna essentially have people right now on the brink. I see people on Twitter canceling their season tickets for LA Galaxy next season. You know what I'm saying? So I think another thing that could be a low blow for the LA Galaxy is if LAFC won an MLS Cup this week. I mean, this year.
Can I
I think.
stop you?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah. No. No.
I
Yeah. Let's
disagree.
let's talk about it.
Yeah, I disagree. For the average casual MLS fan, absolutely, they will become LAFC fans, no doubt. I completely agree there. L- LA Galaxy has a big loyal fan base that are going to stick by LA Galaxy's side. I think the difference is, say in this world of yours where LAFC does take home the MLS Cup, I think it would only give Galaxy fans more reason to be more outspoken and demand more changes and want the front office out. And I mean this with all due respect to everyone in the front office because they're always so kind to the media and everything. I'm surprised, especially that someone like Chris Klein still has a job in 2020 after the number of seasons that have been completely a disaster, just complete disaster. That's
Mhm.
really the only way I could put it. If LAFC went on to win a cup and no changes were made in the front office from this point till the MLS Cup winner was announced or given to LAFC in this example, I think it would give them more of a reason to be more outspoken. I think they would be angrier. I think that they would be demanding change. And I think it would create a little bit more pressure on the organization to actually do something about it and make changes in that front office. Because
Yeah, but they're not
as
gonna they're
much
not
as
gonna they're not gonna fire Chris Klein this year. They're not gonna fire him. Even if you're outspoken, they're not gonna fire him. That's what I'm saying.
but it
They're
can
not gonna.
create more
Yeah,
pressure.
but they already did that.
People,
They already did that though, and that they already did that with the victory block. I hear your point, but the, it gets to a point they're like, man, this team doesn't listen to us. Man, they fired Guillermo, but we're in last place in LA, and that's what I'm saying. They're in last place, and LFC wins MLS Cup. Think about that. The gap is so different. And these last 4 years since LAFC got into MLS, LA Galaxy have been playing catch up when they're supposed to be the standard. Galaxy should not be
Okay,
playing
so
catch up.
take that. So take that what you're saying right now.
That's what
What leads you to think that Chris Klein's job is secure?
I'm
Based
not
off
saying.
of that,
I'm not saying it's secure. I'm not saying it's secure. I just don't
I think he
see
can get fired. I
this
think he
year.
can
This
definitely
year,
get fired. Yeah. I
you think
would
so?
not. Yeah, I think at this point everyone's job is on the line, and I would not go and put money on the fact that this will be the same front office. I think
Okay,
that
I
the
don't think that's
next
gonna
three
happen though. But I hear you. I want to continue.
I think that the next three games will be very telling. Say, for example, next three games happen under Dom. Team pulls it a little bit together. They look more united. They do a solid job. I think that buys Chris Klein more time, right? If they if they bring in a coach and it works out, and like you're saying, they obviously want to get this right. If they get this right, of course, all of that can turn around. But also, what if it doesn't? What if they don't get it right? What if we don't see a different team in the next three games? What if we see a worse team? There's all these
Y-
possibilities where it's
Yeah,
like just because you got rid of GBS does not mean that all of your problems
100%,
are going to be
hundred
solved.
percent.
And I still feel like Chris Klein's job. I don't think I'd go as far as to say like for sure he's going to get fired. But I feel like he's also in the hot seat, and I can guarantee you that he's feeling that hot seat. And it can go either
Yeah, but
way. It's like a very
yeah, but
50-50
say
thing.
say Galaxy wins out and they still have they can still miss out. I don't think Chris Klein's gonna get fired this year. I just don't. I just really don't. I think Guillermo's getting fired was the first thing, and I think that's what I'm saying. If the next coach coming, because I think he still has 2 more years left on his contract. I'm gonna look back. I apologize for the people who are listening, but I think it is 2 years or maybe to 2021. But he still has some time, and I don't. The reason that's what I'm saying. I don't see him getting fired. You don't. I
Do
don't
you
see
think
him
that
getting.
he should get fired?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Very
Look,
different question. I'm going to put
yeah,
you on
yeah,
the
yeah,
spot.
a
But do you
hundred percent,
think?
100. Look, I don't want to say. I say, well, let's do it this way. Base.
Okay,
I don't because
I'm listening.
I've been fired before, and it's. Uh, Trust me, I've been fired before plenty of times because I just I prefer to be my own boss. Do my own things,
Yeah.
and that's what I do now. That's what I do now. But um, if you're gonna fire Guillermo based on results, which Dennis said, in his quote, essentially this was based off results. If we look at Chris Klein's result or track record these last 4 years, you've had a number of different coaches, and he still keeps his job, right? But Dennis is not his boss. Is Dan Beckerman and AEG. You know what I'm saying? So Dan Beckerman is gonna have to, I think Dan Beckerman and Chris kind of have a great relationship, a solid relationship. I don't know now, but Dan Beckerman's gonna have to turn on Chris Klein, and he hasn't done that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't
But
see
he's
that.
going, but that's
But
no,
I
and
don't
I
see,
see and I see your point, and I see why you say that. I think the question that I in my head play over is
yeah, he
how
shouldn't
many
be there. Chris
coaches.
Chris Klein Chris Klein. He's not a good president because of the results. I've
No,
got other.
not at
He's not,
all. But I also feel like no matter how good of a relationship he has with Dan or anything above that, how many coaches, how many big DP signings are you going to go through until you realize, okay, you need to make bigger changes rather
that's what I'm
than
saying.
just a
They would have done
coach?
that today. They would have done that. They're not gonna just. They would have done Dan. They would have done Guillermo and Chris
See,
Klein,
I
and
don't
they
think
didn't
so.
do
I
that.
disagree. I
You
disagree.
think?
I think just because they didn't do it today does not mean that it can't still happen. It doesn't mean that it can still happen. Does that slim the possibility? Yeah, sure, maybe. Does that completely eliminate the possibility? No, it does not. I think in the best case scenario, Galaxy wins the next three games to make playoffs. Okay, then maybe you're probably gearing more towards that
I
likely to
think that
happen.
case is more if Guillermo had kept his job, but I don't. I just don't think, like, based on results, I don't think Chris Klein deserves to be there. But I just don't think that's gonna happen because it should already happen. You know what I'm saying? And
All
I
right,
think
well, fair enough.
I just think it should already happen, and it didn't happen. And I just don't think I'm with you But I don't think these next three games have anything to do with Chris Klein. I think his record has not been great. It just hasn't been great. And I don't think if like Dennis said that about Guillermo, then what is Dan Beckerman doing about Chris Klein? Does he look at it the same way? Clearly not, because he's been here for 4 years, and this has been going on. What I'm saying, under his watch, and AAG, like, under their watch. What I'm saying. So it's like, like how, like, and also his contract, you're gonna essentially have to buy his contract out too. There's money. We don't know the numbers. There's money that AEG can lose too. So it's a lot of things that are in play, and that's why I don't feel like he's gonna get fired. I could be wrong, and we could play this podcast a month from now, or a couple weeks from now, but I don't think that's gonna
Fair enough.
happen. I don't think. But if it does, we'll play it back, and we'll give you credit. I just don't see it because
I
of
get to say I
what's been
told
going
you
on.
so.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'd love to
No,
hear
no,
that.
no. Listen, listen. I totally see where you're coming from and your point of view and everything. I think I'm just coming from anything can happen at this point. You know what I mean? Like nothing would shock me or surprise me if they announced someone else was let go, if they clean house in a different department and that kind of thing. I just don't think that they can rest easy necessarily. But who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? Obviously, season's about to end for them, likely not making playoffs. And then there'll be time there. And I mean, all bets are off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we just have to see how these next few months. Obviously,
Yeah,
this today is day one of the rebuilding process for the LA Galaxy again, which is just
again.
sad to say, because they're supposed to be the team that sets the standard. This is my biggest thing on their front office. You let LAFC come into your territory and take your territory, essentially. And you've been playing catch up this whole time. And that's under Chris Klein's watch. That's under Dan Beckerman's watch. And you finally did the stands thing today that, they wanted, that the LA Galaxy fans wanted before even Orlando had that, even before LAFC had that. I just don't think, if you're the LA Galaxy, you haven't been paying attention. You haven't been innovating. You know, we both know that going to LAFC games are more entertaining. You've taken friends, I've taken friends. They're more
Yeah,
entertaining, and you don't even have to watch. You don't even
absolutely.
have to watch the game. Even I've taken friends
Hmm.
that don't even watch soccer, no soccer, but like, man, this was so much fun.
Same.
I'm like, did you not watch the game? You know what I'm saying? The LAFC just has a better, ticket to the game. And if you're AEG and stuff, you haven't innovated to make the experience better there. You don't have, I know the history with the Galaxy. They have such rich history. They have diehard fans. But that's what I'm saying. That was my point earlier. Is like, it gets to a point, if you're a diehard fan since 1986, you're seeing what you've been given these last 4 years, and you're paying all this money. And when you have LAFC, who invested in the community, has done a great job on marketing, outside of what they're producing on the field, which is just an add-on, but like how they care about the community, how they're so engaged with the fans. LA Galaxy hasn't done that. And they have the resources to do that, and they haven't done that, and they're playing catch up. And to me, it's like, at what point do you realize that you have to invest in your community? And it's not about just buying these big ticket players, Zlatan, Chicharito, David Beckham, because it worked back in 2010 or 20, whenever David Beckham came. They're still trying to play the same game here in 2020, and they haven't innovated with bringing up younger talent and developing them, and then adding certain pieces, like superstars that grow. Like, we see LAFC have a great academy now. I know people are like, "Oh, you're talking about LAFC." No, I'm telling you what they've been doing, and how LA Galaxy has not innovated, and has not, and is playing catch up. They're playing catch up in all these different things, where I feel like they shouldn't be playing catch up, because they are the five-time MLS Cup champions. They are the ones that are supposed to be setting the standard. And I think that again falls under Dan Beckerman and Chris Klein. And I don't think they've really, I don't think they've really cared to innovate, or else they would have done it. And they've been playing the same game for too long, and now it's catching up to them.
No, I
It's
agree.
been
I
catching up to them.
honestly, no, I completely agree. Like you say, we've both taken friends to an LAFC game, and the whole atmosphere is completely different. And they've done a phenomenal job from before they even had a team to market that team, which is insane when you really put it into words like that. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add to that. I think you said that perfectly, and it's as sucky as it is as a Galaxy fan to hear that, it's the truth. It's the truth. And that's what I mean by there's all these different factors that you have to take into account. At some point there will be a point where they realize this is not working. We have to clean house. There
Yeah.
will be a point, whether that's tomorrow, whether that's a year from now. The more successful that LAC becomes, the louder those voices get for the galaxy. And it's just a matter of time, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it should already happen, but
Yeah,
it's just not there. And it just, you can't keep blaming the coaches. You just can't. You just can't
agree.
keep you can't keep blaming the coaches. And it just, I know Guillermo lacked in a lot of things, but I mean, the things that I mentioned, that's under the organization, that's under the front office, that's under AEG. Because they have prior to COVID, they had money to invest in those things, and they just never did. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yep.
that's my biggest take on them, that you had all the resources, you've been here for so long, but you've just been playing the same game for too long. But nevertheless, I
I
can go
agree.
on and on and on about that.
I'm sure we both can.
Yeah, we definitely can. So how do you see this? Let me just a couple more questions. How do you see because I know the way to turn this around is by winning, right? And that's not going to happen.
Of
It's not going
course.
to happen these next 3 games. Um, how do they turn this around
Oh, what a loaded question, eh? um, I don't know. When you say that's not gonna happen, eh, I
this year?
mean,
That's not going to happen. I mean, if somehow they make the playoffs and it works out, then okay.
oh no, they won't win the whole thing for sure. I think a starting point would be to do a better job in the next 3 games, right? Just to
Hmm.
at least, I don't even think it becomes about winning the games. It's at least show fight, show
Yeah.
that you can play an entire 90-minute game and have some kind of heart and make fans feel like you want to win. I feel like if they can at the very least show that in the next few games, that's a start. I feel like fans will get on board and be like, okay, at least we were able to see some fight in them. And if this is going to lead into better and bigger things moving forward, then they'll take it. As far as the rest of it, obviously a coach, first and foremost. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. That's obviously going to change the system. It's going to change just everything, to be honest. It's going to change everything. It's going to change as far as positions. Who are we going to see in those starting lineups? There's going to be a lot of players, especially like you were saying, on that defensive end that are not going to be here next year. That may look completely different. Getting a good defense is what they need to do. Make
Hmm.
sure you get good players out there that can actually play defense and pull through for the team like that, because that's been a point of emphasis probably since I've started covering the team. It's been like 4 years where it's constantly just bad bad defensive performances. You're gonna have to find a way for Chicharito to make sense in all of this. You're gonna have to not cater to him, not make the game around him, but be able to work together as a team where his style will work along with everybody else's. I mean, the list could really go on, and but I do believe that a good coach, the right coach, can change everything.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it could change everything, and that's why I have so much faith on Dom, because we've seen him in this position before. We've seen him take in a completely broken down team and having them perform and having them do
Hmm.
well, and have it, you could see kind of like that spark in their eyes again, where it's like they believe in themselves again, something that you don't see in them now, which is why I'm so for Dom. I still feel like it
Yeah.
can happen. You just need to see little sparks of that alive. And I'm very curious to see how the game this weekend is going to go. I think it's going to be very telling, what they're able to do the next coming days. And it'll be very interesting to see if Chicharito will be available
Yeah.
or not, because that's also going to tell us a lot
Yeah, if he's somehow
about what
available
happened.
this Sunday, that's gonna be crazy. Yeah.
I mean, the media will go crazy. I'm sure if you think there's speculation now, forget about it. Come this weekend, everybody's going to be talking, okay, he's the reason he left, right? That's just how this works. But
Yeah.
should be interesting. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, cool, Delmy. I think that's gonna wrap things up there. I mean, we hit on a lot of different things. I loved all your takes and stuff. So we'll see what happens this weekend with the LA Galaxy and with all the different things, moving pieces. But I do want to say that there is hope. There is hope. You have Dennis
Yes.
DeClose there. Dennis DeClose knows what he's doing. It just didn't work out with GBS, and I I have faith in Dennis Kloese that he knows what he's doing because he's proven it before. And I think he is going to bring in, whether it's Dom or someone else, he is going to bring in someone that, you know, fulfills, uh, a successful team. Because at the end of the day, you want, if you're an LA Galaxy fan, you want to be an MLS Cup champion once again. And I think Dennis the Close is the man to help the Galaxy get there, with all that. But Delmy, let the people know who already don't follow you. Let the people know where they can follow you at.
All across the board, Delmy Barillas, LA Sports Access, and also make sure y'all vote.
Yeah.
Get those
Look,
votes
look.
in.
Got the
I'm gonna
vote
plug
shirt.
that because that's important. Yes,
Vote, vote.
exactly, Joe. Make sure you guys get out there and vote. Very important. Make your voices heard. And yeah, I'll see you online, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll see you Sunday's game. If you'll be there at Sunday's game,
Yes, I will
I'll
be.
be there. So
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Gio.
yeah, guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to give this a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to Spotify, wherever you get your music. Download this podcast, and you can follow me at Gio Garcia LA on Twitter and social media, wherever. Make sure to follow LA Soccer Hub. For Delmy, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.